My first guest is a young woman I met 10 years ago now. I mean, time flies. I'm not that old, by the way. And she was just in her early 20s, thinking of supporting people who are underprivileged, especially people, eventually she described them as people who live in the Dustbin estate. But I won't say too much about Tolu because she's grown to be a tall, beautiful, nice young woman. I'm going to invite her to the studio to join me in my living room so that you can get to meet Tolu Ogunsanya. They call you the princess of the Dustbin estate.
The queen.
Oh, queen. Oh, did you queen? The queen of the Dustbin estate. Hi, darling. Nice to have you on the set.
Thank you so much,
It's nice to have you.
Yes.
Yes, they're calling me my daughter. Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down.
I'm way still younger than you are.
Yes. Tell them, told them. But what happened to your dream of being a fashion designer? I remember then you were in your final year when you started helping people.
Yes.
You remember
yes,
that wonderful poem you wrote?
Yes. I've written so many.
I never forget. You know, you were a student in Ogun State and
Yeah.
said, look, I must do something to help others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that first spark in your life.
Okay, there are different, to why I do what I do. The first one was my dad's Ifa priest that came up. My dad is a traditionalist, so he does
What
all
they
the
call
traditional
herbalist?
worship. Yeah, well, not herbalist, is a lawyer, but that's his religion.
Okay.
So his Ifa priest came when I was 16, between 16 and 22, and said I was going to die young because I was Emiri.
What's a Mary? Yes, water spirit. Oh, I remember.
Yeah, yeah, like I'm a queen in the spiritual realm, and of course I have to physically leave planet Earth. And it woke me up. I woke up suddenly to the fact that life was actually very short, and I needed to do something to say I came. I didn't want my birth certificate and my death certificate to say Tolu Ogunsanya passed through Nigeria. 170 million people, how many do you know by name that are doing things? I wanted to be one of those who people would remember that came.
You were 16?
16 to 22, it was a constant battle for fear of death. And when I started the charity by feeding people, I told God, every year that I pass, I'm going to celebrate my birthday by feeding people on the street to say, I'm alive one more year. And when I started, the Ifa priest came and said I wasn't dying again. So I realized that God realized that I wasn't a waste of his son.
You've had some tribulations, personal tribulations in your life to have proven that this work, you know, means a lot, you know.
I had so many other things that happened. I had dyslexia as a child. I couldn't read until I was 10. It took my 79-year-old grandfather to teach me how to read and write in 2 years. And I thought my problem was an individual problem, but apparently it's a national problem. We have people that are in school that can't read. So I don't know if it's about the disease or if it's about the, the standard of education falling, but I knew that I had to do something. And the best lesson was the strategy my grandfather used. 2 hours after school hours every day. He never missed it till he died. And the same thing, the same model I used in Dustbin
You know,
Estate.
you brought that Queen's Primer and CAT cards.
Yes.
You know.
It started with the alphabet and then moved to 2-letter words, taught me how to read English, Yoruba, and did basic arithmetics. And that's how I broke out of the failure mark academically.
Yeah, what I find interesting about your story is that you started 10 years ago just wanting to feed, you know, these young people. And tell me how that journey went on to... Because I remember you coming and saying you wanted to feed 100 children and looking for...
1,000.
Small money. 1,000 children. That's when you came to us.
2007.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I did then was I did product modeling while I was in university. And I made money from that, did point of sale, did billboards and TV commercials.
As
and
a mass comm student in Ogun State?
Yes. And the money I made from that, I went on the street and fed 300 children in 2006. So in 2007, when I was going to feed 1,000 people, I knew that, humanly speaking, I couldn't have done that with mine. Yes,
but you
I thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy. So I had a friend who sent bulk SMS. That was when this bulk SMS craze was just coming out. And he helped send to over 1,000 people on my phone, my contacts. And everybody started donating from 1,500 to 2,500. The first person that donated, I can never forget, Femi Olontoba donated 12,500. And the person who donated the maximum was Larry Olushola Kupi. We used to call him Kupi then. And Kupi gave 238,000 naira. I raised, in 2 weeks, I raised 438,000 naira to feed.
What did you need that time?
Food, drinks.
How much did you need?
I didn't even have a budget. I didn't know how much it was going to cost because I just had the crazy idea in January and I kept telling people, oh, do you know I'm going to feed 1,000 people by December?
Interesting thing about what you did is you took a personal decision that I'm going to change.
Yes.
But there were challenges, like I said earlier.
Definitely.
Those challenges, why didn't they stop you? Challenges of people believing what you're doing, getting the money to do it, the numbers of people you are helping growing.
Yeah. I had a confused childhood, but the day I decided to decide and I made a decision, I didn't turn back. I said to myself, you will either like me this way or you don't. So I fell in love with me, thanks to Professor Wale Omole, who was my first mentor. So when I started Dustbin Estate, or even feeding children, everybody kept saying, why feeding alone? You should increase it, something. And I'm like, can we even just start from somewhere? And I did start from feeding, and then in interacting with the kids while feeding them, I found out that most of them couldn't read. Hence the whole experience from my background. Because I said to God, why me? Why am I the only one from a broken home? I'm the one that couldn't read and write until I was 10. I didn't even know I would finish secondary school, talk less of university. And I kept going on. My favorite song then was Dr. Alban's Why Me song. Why me, Lord? I'm like, what did I do wrong? And then I started to succeed academically, and then you tell me I'm dying? I'm like, seriously? And it then now made sense. Because
your whole past now.
It wouldn't have made sense to me to understand why people couldn't read. Because by nature, I'm choleric. I'm too impatient to save my own life. I had to feel the pain of those people to be able to represent them and be able to stand and speak and learn the process myself and teach people that way.
Tell me, what does LOT stand for? Just in
Love
case,
on the street.
Because the point is, I'm trying to get people to see what you do and see all the other women and decide, okay, this is the woman I want to vote for. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they must understand.
I did mass communication in school. I majored in advertising.
Yes.
The period where they were teaching us how to name a company was when the idea dropped. So it helped me in writing down the name of the organization.
So LOT is
love. I said, what do I want to do on the street? I want to give out love to children. Where do I want to do it? On the street. And I just got LOTS, acronym, Love on the Street. It made perfect sense, registered it that way, and it's unbelievable.
So LOT is 10 years old. In 10 years, you have been able to develop... You started off with Makoko, if I remember correctly.
No, Okobaba.
Okobaba, where they do the sawdust.
Yes.
In Lagos.
Yes, that wasn't even the first one. The first one was Maryland to Ikeja. We fed 300 children. We had a walk with even my lecturer from university. I fed 300 children with 35. No, they were actually living on the street. You have to do some form of familiarity before you go on the street. So I went on the street before the event, which was I think was my 23rd and 24th birthday. Went on the street and fed them, letting them know I was coming the following day. Now, before then, I finished school 2006, and we came to Lagos to come do club after exams. And I discovered that a child in Maryland on the run, the roundabout by Maryland, people sleep in the filling station there. One of my friends bought sachet milk, opened it, and the thing spilled on the floor, and I saw a boy bend down to lick it. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I am a dancer. I go to the club and I forget myself. I dance away my sorrows.
I see you dance in the gym.
Yes, at the gym. So I got to the club that day and I just couldn't take a step. I kept going back to that child that I saw bend down to lick, spilled milk in the filling station. And December, I saw that same child. It was a twin. I gave him a serviette with cutleries with the food packed. He threw away the cutlery and ate with his dirty hands. And I knew that nobody can explain to me what a plate of rice can do. Nobody can explain.
Before I round up with you, I would like you to tell me, from that lot, now you have a center.
Yes, we have a LOTS resource center.
A resource center, because people have supported you.
Yes.
I know at the beginning you had no job. You were just doing little things.
Yeah.
Now, does the center support you now? What does the center do?
Okay, LOTS Resource Center has, we have after-school support program. We have 14 computers.
And it's situated at?
Right on the refuse dump in Ajegunle.
Because that's why it's called Dustbin Estate.
Dustbin Estate. Well, the kids actually gave the name to the place. This is the office right now. We have 2 beautiful classrooms, 1 common room, 1 IT department, kitchen. We have a library. The kids,
so the children just come in. They don't have to
after
pay
school
a dime.
hours. They don't pay a dime. We have registered kids. We have 30 of them on scholarship. We have 2 of them in universities right now. 3 of them just passed JAMB. Nicholas had 258 in JAMB. Rufai had 264 in JAMB. Everybody who has finished from the resource center, we've had 10 people finish from the resource center, and 9 of them had minimum of 7 credits, including maths and English.
So
1
must
person
make you feel proud, like a very young mommy.
When I went for matric, revised matric, I felt like I can't wait for the next 4 years when I'm going to tie my gilly and go for graduation.
Do you imagine lots around Nigeria?
After all of that, but I'm going to chew this place until I'm done. I'm going to stay focused. I won't look up to any other place until Michael goes to university, and then we can
Michael,
move on.
the youngest one?
The youngest, Michael, yeah. Is an orphan.
So you're not greedy?
No.
It's not fame, it's not about fame, it's not about fortune.
I always tell people I am not after building the most
biggest.
reputable NGO, the most, what's it called, the African NGO, and that's not my plan is to close shop one day. Once those children do this thing, I go to sleep and they can walk. Now, I am raising people who will change nations by themselves. They have to learn responsibility, learn how to take care of the environment, which are the things that we are missing in leadership. They need to be able to know that after you've acquired this much, you have to be able to give back. And that's what we are doing.
So you have chosen to be the stone that caused the ripple.
Yeah, funny enough, the kids are actually running the office right now. I only go to the office 2-3 times a week. The ones that have finished secondary school go back, teach for 1 year, do admin work, do all the work and make sure they do petty cash book, play with money. Misplaced money, you will replace it with your allowance. Very simple.
Okay, so Tolu is the queen of the Dustbin estate. I must take a break.
And the mayor.
And the mayor of that.
Self-acclaimed mayor. I employed myself.
She's seriously speaking, she's a mass graduate with purpose. I mean, so I'll take a break because I must meet the other women, and then we'll talk about this award that they're going to give to you and what it means to you and what Nigerians can do to either make sure that at least you get that award. So thank you, Tolu, and God bless you.
Thank you so much
We'll
for having
see you on the
me.
panel.
Yes.